Well, hello there. This is Leonel Castro from my office in San Diego, California, and you are watching this video because you're looking for stories about overcoming obstacles. And I can tell you, I want to tell you a little bit about my story. I'm trying to compress it as much because there's a lot of details, but I don't want to bore you with it. But I can tell you one thing: I've overcome a lot of obstacles, and I can tell you at the same time that I actually found a way on actually overcoming them. I've been through a lot of obstacles, through a lot of bad things in my life, and I realized that basically whatever I've been able to accomplish in my life, it has been because of me. Now, I used to point fingers uh, in different scenarios that about things that I used to do or things that happened to me, negative things, because I didn't want to accept the blame on it. Now, I'm going to tell you about what happened to me. Back in, I'm actually I'm an architect, but I don't do architecture anymore, just because the economy doesn't allow really for architects to bloom like we used to back in the 90s. But I've always been an entrepreneur. I've had a lot of businesses. We back in 2008, we had a car wash, we had a gas station, a mini mart. I had my architecture firm, a real estate investment firm. Had multiple properties in different states here in the United States, and we had over 30 employees at one time. So we were doing very well financially, right? You can imagine we were making multiple six figures in our businesses. Then came around 2008, 2009, 10 with recession, and long story short, we lost everything, everything. We even lost our primary residence. We had close to a 3,000 square foot home in Las Vegas, in a gated community, and it was just gorgeous. On a I think it was like a 15,000 square foot lot. I mean, it was really nice property. That was our main property, but we had multiple. We had just in Vegas, we had 7 houses, and they were all rented out. But we lost everything. We were upside down, as you know, with the crash. Just to give you an idea, there's a house that I bought for 315,000, and it was sold at auction for 74,000. So I put less than a quarter, or practically a quarter, of what I paid for it. So that's how bad our situation was. So we hit rock bottom. We lost everything. We had to sell everything. We moved from Vegas to get a fresh start to San Diego, and thinking that everything would work out good for us. Still, I just couldn't get back on my feet. I would try to do some architecture, some drafting on the side. Still nothing. My wife went back to work part time. Still nothing. We were renting a small house. And it got to a point where I was just so stressed out. I just didn't know what to do. And I told my wife, hey, we're going to have to move back to Vegas in with my mom. So my mother-in-law, she just freaked out because at that time my 2 kids, my 2 boys, now we have 3 boys as you can tell in the picture, but my 2 older boys, they were basically my mother-in-law's only grandkids. So when we told her that we were, thinking about moving back to Vegas, she freaked out, right? They were taking away basically her only grandkids. So they said, well, no, hold on, just let us think about something. We want to help you guys out, whatever. Okay. So long story short, they actually bought us an RV. So they bought us an RV, they parked it outside of their house, and we lived in that RV for about 11 months. Now, that's when I really hit rock bottom, because imagine that I was living in an RV after living in a 300 square foot home, or 3,000 square foot home. Went into it was probably like maybe 150 square feet, if that. It was a 28-foot RV. It was very depressing for me. After having a really multiple 6 figures, and we lost everything. And just you could imagine how I felt as a man, as a husband, as a father, that I wasn't able to really provide to my family. But for the first 6-7 months, I was actually, like I said at the beginning, I was pointing fingers. I was blaming the banks, the government, my renters that they were ruining my houses. I mean, you name it. I was blaming everybody for the problems, for that I lost all the properties. But I never actually took the blame myself. If I would have actually made more or smarter decisions, if I would have, let go of all the greed because I was making so much money and the properties were increasing, I just got blindsided and I didn't notice really what had happened. That how did I get to that point? Not only that, but our gas station, our car wash, we had to close down that business and it was just horrible. 30 families, 30 employees, they lost their jobs. 30 families just, they had to go look for another job. I mean, it was just horrible for everybody. However, right around month 7, living in the RV, I got in touch with one of my mentors, which I still talk to, and he basically told me that, what my action, whatever I do, my actions are the reflection of my results, or my results are the reflection of my actions, right? So I started getting into personal development. I started reading. I started applying the 30-30 formula, 30-30-30 formula. If you don't know what that is, and it's an amazing formula, I can tell you right now, it's actually, I say 90% of this formula is the secret to my success the first time, is now the secret to my success this time. Now I'm going to tell you what happened. First of all, the 30-30 formula, 30-30-30 formula means that for 30 days you're going to read for 30 minutes, and then you're going to listen to audiobooks for 30 minutes. You're going to do it consistently for 30 days. As humans, we need to get into a habit to do things. So if you, by forcing yourself to do this for 30 days, it becomes a habit, and then it gets to a point where you really need to read. You're going to really want to put a lot of positive thinking into your head, right? Positive thoughts, and eliminate, the TV and radio, all that stuff, just negative stuff. So I started getting into personal development, which exactly, I didn't know it as a 30-30-30 formula before. I just knew it as basically, personal development. I got into that, and that's how I was able to make that kind of income, through 2008, 2009, making multiple six figures. But when I was hit rock bottom, that's when I started into personal development, and then I realized, oh my gosh, okay, I think I could get out of this hole that I'm in. And basically within about 4 months later, I was able to get out of that RV. We moved into a house, beautiful, in a nice neighborhood here in San Diego. And if you're familiar with San Diego, it's not a cheap place to live. And I was able to afford that within 3 to 4 months. Not only that, the house was pretty much empty. I was able to buy all the stuff inside the house, cash, within a few weeks. And then maybe a couple of months later, 2-3 months later, I was able to buy a BMW. And it wasn't a brand new BMW, but it was a used BMW. And, I used to have a BMW before, so I wanted to get a new one. And I can tell you, what I did? I actually was... I got so involved into personal development that I started going to see open houses in areas that with gorgeous views and $1 million homes. I went to take a test drive a couple of cars. I took a test drive for a BMW, a Lexus LS, a BMW 7 Series. So I got into the mood, and at that time I didn't even have $100 to my name. I think I had like $70-$80 in my bank account. I was on food stamps, for God's sake. I didn't even have money to really, buy food for my kids or a gallon of milk. But I got into the mindset that even though I only had $70-$80 in my bank account, in my mind, I had $5 million. Does that make sense? And so I was so convinced that I had that. When I went to drive these cars, take them for a test drive, the salesperson didn't even flinch. He didn't even have an idea that I couldn't afford that vehicle. Obviously, I couldn't afford it, but I was helping myself to get into the mindset. And so at that moment, I was acting as if I already had the money, okay? So it was an amazing experience. So that's what happened. That's how I was able to get out of that hole. A few months later, like I said, I was able to get into a house. I was able to buy a car, and this was all cash, no loans or anything like that. all cash, buy all the furniture, etc., etc. And that's how I was able to do that in a very short period of time. So, and this is just, I basically gave you a snapshot, a short version of my story. I mean, I went through a lot of stuff to get to this point. And nowadays, now I'm basically working from home. I work less than 2 hours a day and working basically, generating a full-time income more than I generate as an architect. Why? Because architecture, hey, I told you, right? There's not really a way to make much money in architecture, yet I'm able to work from home, spend more time with my family, and I do it with less than 2 hours of work per day, generating more than I would make as an architect. So, and so if you want to learn exactly how I was able to do that, step by step, all you need to do is click on the link below. If you or if you are here watching this video on my channel, subscribe to my channel. I'm always sharing new articles or new strategies, marketing strategies, different things that you can use to apply for if you have an existing business, or if you don't even have a business, you can actually start a business. So all you need to do is subscribe to my YouTube channel, or if you're watching this on my blog, just click on the link below. I'm going to show you step by step how I was able to accomplish this in a very short period of time, and I promise you, you're going to be happy about what you're about to see on the inside. Okay, thanks so much for watching, and I will see you on the inside. Bye for now.